The school was quiet that night, its long corridors dimly lit. A mop scraped gently against the tiles as Mr. Ramon worked, his body weary from years of labor. At 54, his shoulders carried more than just the weight of buckets and brooms, they carried memories of a son he would never see again. Ian had been his world, his reason to smile, and his sudden loss had left a wound that time could not heal. When the silence of the building grew heavy, Mr. Ramon found himself humming the lullaby he once sang to Ian. The sound trembled through the halls, delicate and sorrowful, rising from the depths of a father's broken heart. He thought he was alone. He always thought he was alone. But that night, fate had other plans. 3 students had returned, searching for a forgotten backpack. They stopped in their tracks when they heard the voice. They peeked inside the auditorium and froze. It wasn't the janitor they saw every day sweeping floors. This was a man singing to someone long gone, his voice cracked yet angelic, raw with grief yet filled with love. One student raised a phone, hesitated, then pressed record. Something inside told them this moment wasn't meant to stay hidden. By morning, the video spread like wildfire. The internet had discovered the janitor with a broken heart who sang to his lost son. Millions wept as they watched him clutch his mop like it was the hand of a child he could no longer hold. Comments poured in from strangers across the world, "This man is a father. This is pain and love in its purest form." Overnight, the forgotten janitor became a symbol of grief, love, and humanity. Yet Mr. Ramon himself remained unaware, arriving at school with tired eyes, ready to clean the halls as usual. He didn't know the world now knew his story. The principal called him into the office that morning. Nervous, he thought he was in trouble. Instead, the principal's eyes softened. "Ramon. Do you know that millions of people have heard your voice?" The old janitor shook his head in disbelief. He was shown the video, the comments, the tears, the stories of parents who understood his pain. For a moment, Ramon's eyes glistened. "I didn't mean for anyone to hear," he whispered. "I was just singing to my boy." His voice cracked. "I miss him every day." The principal placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "The world needed to hear you. Maybe your song wasn't just for him. Maybe it's for everyone carrying loss." Days passed, and news outlets came. A reporter asked him to sing again, but Ramon refused at first. "That song belongs to my son," he said firmly. But one evening, standing inside the school auditorium, he changed his mind. The seats were filled, not with strangers, but with students, teachers, and parents who had gathered silently to honor him. They weren't there for a performance. They were there to remind him he was not alone. Trembling, he took the stage. His voice cracked as he began, but soon the silence was filled with the lullaby of a grieving father. Tears streamed down faces in the crowd. It was no longer just a song, it was a prayer, a bridge between the living and the lost. What happened next surprised everyone. Among the audience was a young music producer who had lost his father years ago. He approached Ramon after the performance. "Sir, I want to help share your voice with the world. Not for fame. For healing." Ramon hesitated, but with gentle persuasion, he agreed. A recording was made, raw and unpolished, just his voice and a faint guitar. When released, it wasn't marketed as a hit song. It was introduced as the sound of a father's love echoing beyond loss. Within weeks, it climbed charts, not because of glamour but because of truth. People played it at funerals, at hospital beds, and in lonely rooms where they missed someone deeply. The janitor's song became a balm for broken hearts everywhere. Ramon's life changed, but he remained humble. He still cleaned the halls, still greeted children with quiet smiles. But now, students stopped to talk to him, to hug him, to tell him his song gave them courage. Once invisible, he was now seen. One evening, standing by a classroom door, he heard a child whisper to his mother, "That's the man who sings for his son. He sings for all of us." His eyes filled with tears, but this time, they were not just of sorrow, they carried hope, gratitude, and a sense that his boy's memory lived on in every note. In the end, Mr. Ramon understood something profound. His son's absence would always hurt, but through song, Ian's spirit reached countless others. The internet hadn't just made him viral, it had given him a way to turn grief into light. And so, every once in a while, when the halls grew quiet again, Ramon would sing. Not out of loneliness, but out of love. Because he knew now, his voice was no longer just for one lost child. It was for the whole world that needed to be reminded of the power of a father's heart.